Eagles 38, Giants 7. Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by John Boy Media. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Penik. And the Giants season's over. A first in Talking Giants history. The first time the Giants have been to the playoffs since 2016. This sucks, man. Like, we'll in a week or two, we'll evaluate the season and talk about the success and for what it is. But I don't care. Once you get in the dance, man, it's win or die, and I feel like death right now with the New York Giants, and especially it was just the entire game. The Giants were done. You know, after they went for it on that 4th and 3, that ended the game.
4th and 3.
Or sorry, no, after the Daniel Jones,
the
Daniel Jones, the 4th and 8, then the Daniel Jones interception to Bradbury. That was like, okay, this game is over, and they scored right there. And before we get into talking about whatever, I think this game, and I obviously we came in confident, and it's the playoffs. You should be confident. You're there. You won a game versus the Vikings. But with the Giants and their season right now, they were able to play above expectations because of coaching, because of Daniel Jones, because, you know, their star players doing what they should. But I think this is a good, you know, punch in the face that says, hey, it doesn't matter how good your coaching is when you go up against a team like the Eagles or the team like the 49ers, who has talent, just deep, depth, great star players, and good coaching, that talent ends up winning.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Eagles have been building that O-line for years. I mean, I think the Eagles, from the standpoint of they're a team that they can get the lead early with explosive pass plays. They can keep a lead by running the ball, and then they can keep a lead by playing pass defense and then playing good defense as well. I mean, that is what I feel like every NFL team ultimately kind of strives to do, and I think it's ultimately what – I think the Giants are going to strive to do. They're going to upgrade the secondary. They're going to upgrade the O-line. They're going to make a bunch of other upgrades to eventually become a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. No matter how much we kind of hate them, they have a good roster. We'll see what their road looks like after this. But yeah, the details of this game. You know, we usually come in here and be like, this is how the Giants won. This is how the Giants lost. Break down personnel. Break down schematics. Break down this. Break down that. This sucks, and the details of this game are kind of fuzzy. You know, we just got confused between a 4th and 8 and a 4th and 3. The details on this game are fuzzy just because it really did kind of suck from start to finish. There was never that. You know, I think really the only time that maybe we had a little bit of energy was when we were down like 21-0 or 28-7, and we started to get a little bit momentum. We're like, oh, it's not over. It's not over. That was the only kind of energy that we had.
That was even me, like, telling myself, like, dude, like, hey, it was basically like, you're on camera. You can't give up on this game yet.
No.
Know, so it was like me forcing myself, like, all right, let's get back into it. So where do you want to start? Because I do think we talk about the game and how this played out, but just overall, they just dominated the Giants, right? Like,
yeah.
Like on up front on both sides, where their pass rush was just deadly, and you know we knew that was going to be an issue with Evan Neal's, an issue all over the line outside of Andrew Thomas, and then their offensive line and their running game, I mean, was nasty. Like this, Jalen Hurts threw for 150 yards in this game. And a 31-point win, their quarterback threw for 150 yards, and that's the thing that is going to be the most frustrating to me about this game. It's not that they lost, not that they got blown out. It was really none of the key players, or what I say, good players, played well outside of Saquon Barkley. And it's not like he had some monster game.
Key players who we want to be stars for the New York Football Giants did not show up today, besides Saquon Barkley, but
Andrew Thomas,
but again, like your left tackle, yeah, he could be a star player, but he's not a guy he's
not changing a play.
He's not going to be the headline of a New York sports paper the day after a game. But then by the time that Saquon Barkley could even do anything positive or productive, the game was over because you were down by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, if I had some hindsight into this, and you know, knowing the talent disparity after, and it's like when it hits you in the face, I probably would have been like, hey, maybe we should try and control the clock and run the ball and punch. But it wouldn't have mattered because their offense was unstoppable.
Yeah.
You know, like they dominated up front. And that was something we've actually said it on a few preview pods this year. When you play a team like the Eagles, like the Vikings, yeah, do they have Dalvin Cook? Yeah, but they just run zone run, and the Giants' defense can play against that. If a team that, one, is great at it, like the Eagles, like the 49ers, we're going to run their pulling guys, they're throwing counters, and the quarterback is a threat. San Francisco's quarterback's not a threat, but they have all types of weapons.
Yep.
And they just decide to just keep running it. It could just be over,
yep.
right? Like we go into like 30 minutes of detail, but it's like, but if this team just decides to just run it, and they have the ability, they did that. I mean, they ran the ball, and it's not just like a bunch of garbage time stats. Like the first drive of the game was definitely Jalen Hurts. He created the big play, had some good third down conversions. The second touchdown drive of the game, Justin, run, 12-yard pass, run, 9-yard touchdown pass.
And they were utilizing a ton of 12 personnel, which that's what I said on the preview pod. I almost if you got the sense and if you got my energy on the preview pod, of course I picked the Giants to win just because you have to in a playoff game. But I kind of was not. You had a lot better energy than I did because I kind of just was like, man, this I'm just scared of this Eagles roster. I'm scared of just what these Jimmies and Joes are going to do against our Jimmy and Joes. And I was like, hey, if I'm the Eagles, I'm running out of 12 personnel
and that's what
almost
they did.
Every play, and then I'm running the ball almost every play. Now, I remember that first Eagles matchup where when it was non-garbage time and they just still had their way with us, they were throwing the ball a lot. So I thought that, this is going to be just Nick Sirianni, just even though they can run the ball well, they're just going to throw the ball a lot. They didn't. Coaches they mixed
weirdly,
it, but
it's a passing league, so coaches weirdly will just there's very few coaches who are like, let's just keep running, And
but this Giants defense is just so bad against the run, and the Eagles did a very good job of, we're not going to let Dexter Lawrence beat us. And then even when certain opportunities where they were running up the middle, or they had Kelsey on Dexter Lawrence, and even sometimes some of the guards like Landon Dickerson came out for a couple plays, and even that left guard, that replacement left guard, was doing all right against Dexter Lawrence, another player that we expect to be a superstar, just didn't fully show up. What do we got going on here? Look, there you go.
I told you, the freaking ESPN box score.
It just show up. But no, what I just said for the Eagles, just run out of 12 personnel every single play. Having tight ends on the field forces the linebackers to play in coverage if you want to throw the ball. And then if you want to run the ball, then that's even better because this Giants run defense is just so bad. And they did a good job of running away from Dexter Lawrence. That's my overall point. They ran outside the tackles, got their guards out in space, and shit like that.
Yeah, and even then, like Dexter Lawrence, Jason Kelsey, there was two big worries I had going into this game. One was Evan Neal, which obviously that one was confirmed.
Check.
My second one was also confirmed, was that as great as Dexter Lawrence has been this year, he's an all-pro, his worst game was definitely versus Jason Kelsey. And I think he might have even had a sack in that game versus Landon Dickerson. But it was like they did well against him. I don't care if he made one play in that game.
Great news. Jason Kelsey is 35 years old.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd retired last year. I was like, when he was debating retiring, I was very happy.
Go retire and go be a Hall of Famer in a couple years. But
and they
I don't want to say you.
They just ran it up the gut, ran their pulls. And
they didn't run it up the gut.
Yeah,
they just ran it all over.
Turned into RPOs. Like even like the third touchdown drive again, run, 10-yard pass.
Run.
Boston Scott run. And at that point they were playing with their food because they knew. Look, let's do it again. Fourth touchdown. Run. 4-yard pass. Incomplete pass. 6-yard pass. Incomplete pass. Run. Incomplete pass. and then a run. Like they just controlled the whole game. Like and I want to talk about the offense too, obviously. But it was like, even like the offense being bad, we're just like, what sucks is that like even if this offense was better, it wouldn't matter.
Oh no, it would not matter 100%. And one of the things that I thought of in the stream is obviously we know interior linebacker is such a weakness on this team. Like you can argue that wide receiver is a bigger need for this team, but linebacker is a much weaker position, and especially with the emergence of Hodgins and James has done all right. James had a big touchdown drop today that didn't matter in garbage time, but linebacker is just the weakest position. And it's like if wide receiver is the biggest need on the team, and if you consider wide receiver a weak position group, or if you consider interior offensive line, there's like 50 feet of shit, and then, to use Moneyball, 50 feet of shit, and then there's the interior linebackers on this team. And especially, I mean, I think it kind of starts and almost ends with Jalen Smith, because Jared Davis and Micah McFadden have not played all that bad this year. But an underrated need that I would love to address is interior defensive lineman number 3, because, man, there were some drives in this game where Dexter Lawrence is not on the field, and it's like, okay, well, you're just going to get 7 yards per carry if Dexter Lawrence is not on the field. If Leonard Williams is not on the field, okay, then just run towards Ryder Anderson. Justin Ellis is I don't want to call him Danny Shelton levels of bad, but man, just really, really bad. Close to it. Like interior defensive lineman number 3, you can have Dex at nose tackle. So Justin Ellis was brought in to be that nose tackle. You don't have Dex at nose tackle. I feel fine about that. But man, wouldn't this team how different would this team be with like a BJ Hill on the team? Like, that is such a need for this offseason to kind of bring in interior defense lineman number 3, and that's not something that a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there is a ton of needs on this team. Like, and I also don't like that people are like, oh, this season's a fluke. No, it wasn't. You know, that's like, was the Eagles season last year a fluke? Like, the Giants absolutely earned the right to be here. They won a playoff a game against a good Vikings team. Not a great Vikings team, but a good Vikings team. But you do see it's like, okay, we got some good coaching. Now it's about getting good players, which is the only thing I'm holding off on this regime, because they can do things the right way. The only thing that I still have hold out from being like, in Joe Shane we trust is,
and it's a big worry.
Yeah, and it's a to be decided, with this rookie class. It's at the end of the day, being a good roster, you can talk about trades and stuff. It's about drafting good players, right? Like, So it's how good are they at that? But we got a whole offseason to talk about drafting players and stuff.
Maybe we should. This draft class this year is kind of like a very nuanced story to look at, because you have Neal, you have Thibodeau is obviously he's Thibodeau.
Feel good in Kayvon.
And then Wandale is a whole big like, whoa, I mean
the whole
know.
Class was injured.
Yeah, I mean, but even like guys that didn't really get an opportunity to play. I mean, like Cordell Flott, like, man, that is a big TBD. And
I mean, basically everyone's a TBD besides Kayvon, and Kayvon's going to be a good player. The TBD is, can he be a great player?
Right.
So the entire, but again, I don't want to judge the rookie class. No. The moments after we lost, and then on offense, the pressure was horrible. And then James, here's the thing: they knew what we were running. They knew, like, we had put together a nice streak of changing the offense, and the Eagles, to give them credit, give their coaching staff credit. They knew, and the James Bradbury interception was the most classic of interceptions by James Bradbury.
Yeah, we saw it. It was 2021. It was last year at the Thursday Night Football game. I felt like I was in deja vu, where he jumps that route against Terry McLaurin, and then it's like, holy shit, the Giants have an opportunity to just go down and score and end the game, and then, of course, the Giants offense doesn't do that. I thought that James Bradbury interception that he had tonight was very similar to the one that he had last year.
And what Bradbury's so great is not just jumping that, it's when you see Saquon run that swing,
right?
Essentially expect a stick route, curl route, right? So, but now, say Daniel Jones is a smart quarterback, right? So if James Bradbury shows zone, he's going to throw it to Slayton. Yeah. If they show man coverage, he's going to throw it to Saquon Barkley. Well, what does he do? He makes it look like he sees Saquon on the swing. He makes it look like zone. And then, bam, like just that little bit, you got DJ to pull the trigger, and he makes a play on it. So it's just none of these cats showed up in this game. Like, I want to go back and rewatch the quarterback stuff, because you can't see stuff backfield. But it's just the Giants' quick game. It seemed like they were just ready for it all game, and we can go back and could we have had some big plays? But the offensive line couldn't hold up.
You can't hold up.
They weren't able to get DJ involved. Like this Eagles defense was just ready for everything the Giants had, and that's why I said the hindsight would be to just kind of pound the rock and see what you can do. But again, it wouldn't have mattered, because the Giants were not going to go score every drive like the Eagles offense did.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you're going to beat this Eagles team, I don't think you can replicate the Washington game plan.
I think that was for the Giants. So I think that's, looking at it now, going into the game, it is 100% hindsight. But That's the only way you could, and then you have to have some good breaks.
Yeah, do you know what I mean by the Washington game plan? I'm talking about the Washington game that they beat them.
Yeah, that they beat the Eagles, where they just ran the ball.
That's so tough, though, man, because
it is tough, but they got smoked in this game.
Yeah, to put together so many plays and so many drives and try and replicate it and finish those drives,
it's tough, but
there was one point where I saw a stat.
You look at the score, and it's tough to win the way they did.
Yeah, I saw at one point there was a stat of like the Eagles 20 out of 24 plays that they ran it in the Giants' territory. So, yeah, you're not winning a game. I don't care how bad or good your offense is.
Yeah. And again, Kenny Gainwell had over 100 rushing yards. So
who is Kenny Gainwell?
We talked about him on the draft preview. Receiving back out of Memphis. One of the better receiving backs. All right, let's stop there.
All right. You're in draft mode now.
Yeah. Tomorrow morning, waking up, going to the office, and working on the Senior Bowl. McKinney also had some really bad plays, namely the falling down on the first one. Yeah, Julian Love got beat up the seam on that. What was the second or third play of the game? And then Dex and Leah, Daniel Jones didn't. What did he do in this game? They had so many 3-and-outs, and obviously a lot of that has to do with pressure. He got sacked 5 times, 15 of 27, 135 yards, and then the interception obviously was huge. That was 14-0 that game, and that was the play. That was the play right after the Matt Breida catch, which was like awesome play. DJ escaping, making time, and
insane catch by Breida too.
Great catch by Breida. And it's like, okay, let's make this game 14-7 to see what happens, and then that interception, that was essentially the game.
This sucks, man, because it didn't even feel like they were in the game. It didn't even feel like, all right, we had kickoff. It didn't even feel like they belonged on the same field as the Eagles, and that's what's so frustrating about being in the playoffs and getting this far. Like you were really demoralized on stream, and I was kind of a little bit more loose. Like, hey, we had a good season. I kind of did expect to lose, not like this, but they weren't even in the game. Like if you just did not watch this, if you're a Giants fan that just did not watch this game, you can get a summary by being like, oh yeah, nothing happened. Nothing happened good for the Giants. And you'd be like, all right, cool, I'll see you next year. But the fact that we got so excited, we had, all this hype, and we're going to do it our way. The Giants are going to do it their way. And, even some of the, the biggest people that are haters of the Giants, saying, oh, can we go on a run? Like, 7-11, tough. That's why it's tough, because they just never felt like they were in the game.
Yeah. And again, we will take a step back and look at the season and be happy with the way the season played out. But it's fresh and it's raw right now, and it sucks. The only one coaching issue was Dable punting it at the end of the game, but I'm not going to freak out about that because the game they didn't have one anyways. But I
would not have gone for it, that 4th and 8, and this is actually pretty
the early game
unusual. Yeah, this is pretty unusual for you and I, because you were saying in the moment, I don't mind it, because you were kind of in no man's land. They were at around the 40-yard line.
It was at the 40. Directly.
At the 40-yard line. I don't know, man, because Dable's reasoning as to why he didn't go for it later in the game is because he said, nothing was...
That was weak. That was like, we don't want
working offensively.
They're like, we don't want the score to get run up. That's one, and I don't know why coaches do that. And again, they still end up running the score up.
What's the difference between losing...
That's a quit punt, which I hate that shit when coaches do that. It's so weird.
But it's so weird to go for on 4th and 8 and then not go for that 4th and short. But I would not, that early in the game, I would not have gone for it at 4th and 8. And you said at the moment you said that you didn't mind it.
Here's why I would, because this Eagles team is so good that you kind of need something like that to hang. And again, like they punt the ball, there's a good chance they get a touchback, and that's only a 20-yard punt. And it can be even, go back to that Commanders game that the Giants won, where Ron Rivera punts and doesn't gain any field position, and then the Giants go for it on the 4th and 7 and get the ball to Richard James. So I have no problem with that. But the punt at the end of the game was so soft. And then my other coaching thing that I'm bothered by is Wink Martindale. Pressure breaks pipes, man. You sat back in zone all game long.
Or at least when it mattered. There were times where he started to bring the blitz. There were times where
whenever he did, it worked in the passing game.
Yeah. So and it felt like, again, at that point, because the Giants were just flat out never in the game. Whenever we saw them play press or them bring the blitz and start to pressure Jalen Hurts, it was like, well, that play, that stop doesn't really matter at this point since you're already down by 3 scores.
Yeah. So and again, Jalen Hurts only threw the ball 24 times, had 150 yards, but on key downs, and especially that first drive of the game when Jalen Hurts, they were throwing the ball, they were just giving to like that. The first third down of the game bothered me more than anything because it's 3rd and 5. And it's like you just put Adoree Jackson 7 yards off A.J. Brown.
Why?
He's going to win that. He's going to win that. You know?
I knew that we were going to say, like, you were kind of convinced that.
I was convinced that's what they should do.
Yeah, and I agree. But I just, there was like a back brain part worry in me that they were not going to completely just flip the script and change it for this Eagle game, that they were going to kind of repeat the same thing that they did against the Vikings last week, so. And again, the Vikings' game plan on defense was a bad game plan. The Giants' offense won that game. We don't have any ads, do we? Yeah, I mean, I can read a DraftKings ad because I don't know how many shows we're going to do this week. We said that we're going to do 3.
Maybe we'll see depends on when the John Mara, Joe Shane end of season presses are.
Yeah. All right, so if this would kindly load for me.
A team just decided to run on us, and again they gave up 268 yards rushing. I mean, they had 120 yards more rushing than they did passing.
I am very dismissive of being good against the run, and my way of approaching it is it's kind of the same as like special teams, where I feel like stopping the run should be kind of a simple thing in the NFL. Now, you probably come from it very differently. Stopping the run in the NFL should kind of be a simple thing until it becomes a problem, and it's like a major problem. And I approach the same way with special teams. Like, I don't even want to think about special teams. But if it becomes a problem and if I have to talk about it, I fucking hate it. And it's the same thing with stopping the run in the NFL.
And it's so frustrating.
Because even if you're a bad
team,
team,
go down your throat.
Even if you're a bad team against the run, like you could allow 4.5-ish yards per carry. That won't kill you because teams don't want to run 15 plays on a drive anymore. They don't want to do it. They want to throw the ball.
Yeah.
But you can't be that fucking bad where you're
Giants
allowing
gave the most
Kenneth
yards
Gainwell
per carry on the season, for anybody.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you can't be allowing 9 yards per carry to Kenneth Gainwell.
Right.
That's where it becomes an issue. This episode is sponsored by DraftKings. 4 NFL teams, 2 conference championship games. The Giants are not part of them. And only a few more shots to win big on the playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Counting down to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Not a new customer, you can feel the conference championship thrills with stepped-up same-game parlays. Take your shot at an even bigger NFL payout and boost your winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Did you bet anything while you were here?
Remember I bet the Giants $20 last week on the recap pod?
Yeah.
Didn't win that bet.
Yeah, didn't win that bet. Tough. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code WORLD, WORLD. New customers can bet $5 on the conference championship and get 200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WORLD. Talking Giants versus the world. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
All right. Where do we go from here in this podcast?
Where do we go from here?
I know that people want the is this guy back game. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it right now.
Do you think Brian Dable's back?
Yeah.
Yeah. After thinking about it long and hard.
You know what we should do?
Wait, here's something.
We should let's put out a clip tomorrow and be like,
I don't know if Dable's coming back. He may be done. Like Julian, start rolling with that. Like that's the first line.
Let's just make up something that we could put out.
All right, go ahead. So you
respond.
You respond to my first line. Go ahead. Now you respond.
Wait. So what was your first line?
I said I don't know if Dable's coming back. I think he may be gone.
Yeah, this ownership group has shown a lack of patience, and this very well could be done. The Giants have a lot of tough decisions to make.
Yeah, for sure.
That punt was just as bad as the Joe Judge QB sneaks. Don't clip that.
No, do not post that.
I don't even care if it's 2 people.
People will run with it.
I don't even care if it's just 2 people who are like these idiots. It's going to be enough.
People
to set me
will
off.
100% run with it. Here's something that I do want to kind of bring up. It's Sunday when people are listening to this, or Monday. So Sunday, Mike Kafka has like 3 interviews.
I think that will be changed though, because the rule is after the division championship you can't have a first interview with someone who's still playing. So they were going to cram those in. Just like remember like the Giants last year before the Bills-Chiefs game, they interviewed Dable and Leslie Frazier the day before, but
Sure.
it was just quick Zoom calls to say they got the interview done.
Okay.
That way I would think that Kafka probably gets his interviews spread out now that the Giants are out of it.
Right. Well, anyway, I mean, Kafka has like 3 coming up, maybe more, and then Wink has one with the Colts, but the Colts are interviewing anybody with a pulse. But I could see them hiring Wink. I don't know after this game though.
The Colts are the one team I can see hiring Wink because Jim Irsay
is like, I want that guy in my building.
Like those guys would be best. Jim Irsay and Wink Martindale would be best friends, which I'm not even sure Wink Martindale would be a good head coach, to be honest. And
he wants to be, though.
And this is coming from a guy who wanted him to be the Giants head coach in 2020. I think some guys are made to be coordinators, some guys to be head coaches. Kafka I can see getting there, but I don't think we lose either of those guys.
Yeah, if you were to put a gun to my head, I say no to both.
Please.
You were just about to do it.
I was getting ready. One time, I know we're goofing off a little bit right now, but there was maybe you can't say that you're in a crowded place when the Giants were losing, and I said, like, we're on the loudspeakers. I was like, someone give me a gun. And I was like, crowded space, don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, are we going to do the thank yous and stuff right now? Are we going to end this podcast? Is this going to be our quickest podcast ever? Or is it, what else is there to talk about?
Daniel Jones versus contact lenses.
Yeah, was very shocked at that. I was like, what is going on? It's like they want to take him out of the game for the earpiece.
And I first said contact lens, and I said he's wearing contacts, and you were like, no. I'm like, yeah, he just touched his eye, and he got something clear.
Yeah, that's kind of like we never knew that he wore contacts.
We take so much pride in knowing everything about the Giants. We never knew that Daniel Jones's vision was fucked up.
Yeah,
I'm now upset. I haven't really been on Twitter all that much, but I'm now upset simply for Daniel Jones because people may run with the whole,
he
can't
of him
see
with his contacts.
He can't see. That's why he threw that interception, and the whole Daniel Jones turning over the ball is going to be a thing again. But no, it's not because he had like a 1% interception rate this year.
So let's not do the who's here, who's back, but the two big faces. I'm pretty confident DJ and Saquon are back, and I think the Saquon conversation is more uncomfortable than people want to admit, especially in the moment. But I definitely think both are back. With DJ, it's gonna be interesting to see what he gets, right? Because he's not gonna garner some $40 million. I don't know. It's QB is such a weird spot where it's unpredictable.
But the Saquon Barkley conversation is more uncomfortable than people do want to admit, because I think if you look at what is sustainable for Brian Dable and Mike Kafka, for them to win, and the way that the Giants won towards the second half of the season, I think you look at the way the Giants won in the second half of the season, and look at their performance on early downs, and then just look at the explosive plays, look at the points that they scored. They just weren't doing that stuff at the same rate and as consistently as they were towards the first half of the season. Yeah, it was really fun when we were running the ball and we were running out of the Wildcat, and it was wacky, fun stuff. But I just think the way that they won in the second half of the season, or not even the second half, the last quarter of the season, is much more sustainable than what we did in the first half. And that involved centering your offense around the quarterback and an efficient running game, not necessarily a running game that was an offense that's shaped around the running game. So obviously we'll have time to talk about it, but it is an uncomfortable conversation. It's one that I'm always ready to have, but
I think, but I would be shocked if both those guys aren't back.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think I think the smart thing to do with Saquon is to Le'Veon Bell him.
The F word.
I was going to say franchise tag him to death.
Not screw him, huh?
Just Le'Veon Bell him. But we got all off season. I think we do have to do because there's so many pending free agents that we might have to do a who do you bring back episode.
Yeah, I said during Julian Love's PPP that I think he's a priority, and I even said it at this point this year. I don't know if I'm at that point anymore.
He would be my unpopular let go guy.
Unpopular let go. So you're okay.
But again, I don't know what he's going to garner. I've seen people say him at $10 million a year. I'm not paying Julian Love $10 million.
3 years.
We loved Julian Love when he was the duct tape guy.
Yeah.
I'm not paying him like a top safety. But we got all. So I guess we can do all the thank yous and thanks for joining us this season.
Well, let's just talk about before we do thank yous. Let's just talk about what's like directly next for us.
So for this week, we will end the season pressers, and then we'll probably do our awards show. And then next week we are in Mobile, Alabama. The football group of Just Giants podcast will be down there with us. So we will be in Mobile, Alabama, and you know it's we said it before I think we even went on Patreon Live. Football's so messed up, man. Where it's like season's over. All right, start working on the draft. we don't have a second to breathe. Even though after the Senior Bowl, I might take like just 2 days of doing nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm going to the office tomorrow morning to start cranking out some Senior Bowl stuff. So, draft stuff. I think we're going to expand, not necessarily on the Talking Giants podcast. I think the draft previews stay, but on the Jam Football channel, there's going to be more expansive draft content, not just breakdowns, but more.
Yeah, more interactive stuff for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I usually say this on the last preview pod of the year, but the Giants continue to win and won a playoff game. I always say this. One, thank you everyone for sticking around with us this year. I know we gained a lot of new people of the Talking Giants family. Truly appreciate this. But this is my pitch to you, and I said it on the live stream at Billy's. Yeah, everyone wants to listen this season, right? Everyone wants to pay. I think Talking Giants off-season Talking Giants is the best Talking Giants. We put all of our effort into every single topic like it was the Giants recap game. We are going to hit every single thing. We're going to be on top of stuff. You're going to have the best free agency coverage, the best draft coverage. Yep. Even when it gets to June and July, I enjoy those episodes. So everything and anything that happens with the New York Giants, we are going to be uncovering and on top of it and giving you every detail that you could out of it. Whether we need to sign a new linebacker coach or what, we will be giving you everything you need to know about those guys. And we should have some, player interviews we'll do.
Yeah, I have some lofty goals, not necessarily player-wise. I think all the players that maybe we can get or even some reappearances this offseason, I think all those things are realistic. But I have some lofty goals. I'm challenging myself this year just as like a creator more. Like we're going to be shooting the Combine within the next couple of weeks that I'm really excited for. That's going to go on like the JM Entertainment channel. So, and that as a production is going to really take a major step up. So I not only, we'll do player interviews on Zoom and whatever as they kind of come in, but I really want to shoot higher in terms of if we're going to do something with players and if they really like us and if we really like them, I want to shoot for the stars in terms of what we can do content-wise with players. I'll save some of those thoughts for when they happen, but our off-season Talking Giants stuff, really stick with it. And the main reason why we're able to literally do everything in depth and everything that we do has so much detail with it and we put so much attention to this show is because, and our football coverage is because that you all listen and you all are with us.
Yeah, other shows at our company or whoever aren't able to go to the Senior Bowl and do
and even other Giants podcasts. I mean, Bobby and I are able to do this. Like this is our job, and we do this for a living, and we're able to sell out at a place like Mr. Purple that can fit 200 people, and then we could actually fit like 100, 150 people more.
Yeah, thank you everyone that came to the live event.
Yeah,
as much as it was nowhere near as fun. This one, it was cool to meet everybody.
Yeah.
It was. I'm not going to say it's a good time because of the Giants' loss. I'm going to be honest.
It was a bad time.
But I was very appreciative of everyone that was there.
Yeah,
so.
But it was a great time hanging with everybody. Like anytime we do something, whether it's a tailgate, whether it's a watch party, anytime we do something with our community, that's like the best time that I genuinely have. And the reason why we're able to have 200 people, Mr. Purple, 300 people plus at Billy's in the Bronx and watch the Giants together is because all you have clicked on, what we do, and you keep coming back, and you love us, and we love you too. So that's really the most important thing. Talking Giants versus the world. It's always going to be Talking Giants versus the world. We got you covered with all the Giants stuff. Thank you for an awesome season. Thank you to the Giants for an awesome season too, because it was it was a really nice refresher, and it was a really good reminder of like, oh, well, this is winning football. This is why we do what we do.
Halftime of week 1, the Giants are down 13-0.
And I'm sitting in Nashville, and you're sitting at home.
And
too.
we are, and I'm serious. I'm saying out loud.
How the fuck are we doing this?
I was like, I can't. I was like, I don't know if I can do another year of this. Like, this is gonna suck. And so it was definitely a very fun season. So, anything else, Justin, before we sign off?
Anthony in the Patreon chat asked, "Will Jamie Gillian be back?"
Hopefully not. Hopefully, Thomas McGahee. People have said he's going to be head coach one day.
He's well respected in the building.
Wouldn't be mad.
You shut your mouth.
He's very well respected.
Very well.
The most well respected in the league. All right, that's an episode. We'll be back. Don't know a date. Don't know the next day that we'll be back. It was at the latest Friday. So we appreciate you guys. You know what? This is on a Saturday. We're gonna have 2 more episodes because the next one I don't want to do awards on the next one. So we'll do a post-season pressers, and then we will be back. So we appreciate you guys. We'll see you then. We love you. Until then, let's go. Well, oh shit! No, I'm not stopping it. Thank you, Mr. Brownstone, for letting us win some games. Now let's win some more games. All right, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you when we see you. Until then. Let's go, Big Blue.